Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today we are featuring Marvel Mech Strike Monster Hunter's Iron Man. And this is Iron Man's Hunter Suit. Okay, so if you'll remember, last year, Avengers Mech Strike was one of my favorite toy lines in 2021. I thought that toy line was amazing. I especially loved the mech suits, and this guy I kind of have my reservations about it. Last year's mech suits were really cool because it allowed you to take the action figure and actually plug it inside of the mech suit. These larger Monster Hunter suits are different because it's just a solo figure. You know, there's no like interaction like with a smaller action figure. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so let's take a look at the box design. It's very eye-catching. I love the graphic here. I think it's amazing. You know, it's a great, unique take on Iron Man. And the thing that really sold me on this figure is that it looks like a crazy version of the Hulkbuster. There's a Mech Strike Monster Hunter Suit Captain America figure that's in the same scale and same price range as this figure, but that one just looks kind of ridiculous. This one, though, for me, it's a little bit more believable just because it kind of looks like the Hulkbuster. I believe this retailed for about maybe like $21.99, which is a slight increase from last year's Avengers Mech Strike figures. Those went for, I think, like $19.99, and I thought that was a bargain. Alright, so what else is there to talk about? Over here we see the play feature. So his chest opens up and it kind of reveals, like, I guess missile pods or something. Here's a look at the back. Here's the figure in all its glory. As you can see, it looks pretty badass. Here's the play feature. You know, you pull on the lever and then his chest opens up and then it reveals the cannons. So yeah, this is Iron Man's Hunter Suit. Alright, let's take this out and get started. I'm really excited to check this out. Like I said, the store, I bought this at my local Walmart. They had the Captain America Hunter Suit, but that one just looked kind of ridiculous. You know, if I like this figure enough, I might go back and get the cap, but for now, you know, the Iron Man one looked really like badass and all I kind of needed. And there's a lot of strings holding this guy down to the box. And all of them. And there we go. So we got Monster Hunter's Iron Man. And this is Iron Man's Hunter Suit. Alright, so immediately, I gotta tell you, I'm falling in love with this figure. So this is a budget figure, and when I say budget, you know, budget toys are generally aimed at parents and kids. This is not a premium collectible. You know, if you're into the Marvel Legends, you know, that's a much more premium collectible. A toy like this is really, you know, much more of a toy. It's meant to be played with, it's meant to be handled. It's a little bit more durable. You know, the quality of the plastic feels a little bit different. Yeah, and I'm really liking this guy. Now, one of the downsides with the budget toys is that they're not going to have as many paint applications, and you'll notice that right off the bat. You know, you look at this guy from the front, and you know, he has a lot of details, but it's very bare minimum in terms of the paint application. Like only the claws here are painted, the knees, and certain parts of his body are like highlighted with black. And then you have the monster eye in the middle. And then when you flip the figure over, it's like absent of paint. You know, it's just strictly the red plastic. So that's where the budget kind of comes into play. But looking past that, it's a really well-crafted figure. The sculpting is nice. The detailing is superb. It's a Hulk of a figure. You know, this thing is massive. This guy stands in at about, I think about 8 inches. And I'm really liking what I'm seeing here. It's a very unique take on Iron Man. This is Iron Man's Monster Hunter suit. As you can see, a lot of cool details. Now what's wild is that he comes with this crazy chain sword. So, you know, they're fighting monsters and he comes with a chain sword. So it's kind of it's kind of crazy to think that, you know, he's going to fight monsters and cleave them in half. You know, it's almost like a chainsaw. And so the way this works, it's simple. A peg right there. There's a socket on either forearm, and you just plug it in. It's kind of a tight fit, which I can appreciate. And there you go. And then there, he has his chain sword on his hand. And then he has these really cool looking fingers. So the play feature with this dude is that if you look on the back, there's a lever right here. And then when you flick the lever, you know, it kind of reveals the missile pods, so he can shoot missiles from his chest. And it's even creepy is that when you pull on the lever, it makes the eyelid on the eye close. So it kind of like breathes life into the character. That's so weird. Now, as I mentioned earlier, last year with the Avengers Mech Strike, the deluxe figures, you know, they were mech suits. I think those are priced at about $19.99, with the exception of Thanos. Thanos was a larger figure, and same with the Hulk. The Hulk was a much larger figure also. Those retailed for a little bit more. But here's last year's Avengers Mech Strike Iron Man. And as you can see, they're kind of the same height. This guy retailed for about $19.99, I think. So the major difference between these two figures is that this is actually like a full-fledged figure. You know, its arms rotate. He has elbow articulation. His elbows kind of swivel a little. And his legs will move. And that's the extent of his articulation. But for the most part, he's a full-fledged action figure. For last year with the mech suits, this was more so of this was more like an accessory, like a deluxe accessory. The only articulation that these figures afforded was their arms moved, they went out, and then the elbows moved. You might have had some articulation in the wrists, but that is essentially it. But the big deal with last year's Avengers Mech Strike figures is that you could actually open up the mech suit, and that would reveal an additional action figure. So for me, that was the cool thing. I love the interactivity between the figure and the mech suit. It's kind of cool how you got this mech suit, and then it opens up, and then you can engage the figure inside of it, and, you know, pretend like it's actually like the Hulk Buster, and close this down, and, you know, it's Iron Man. He's good to go. Now the downside with that is that essentially having the figure be able to go inside the body armor, this is not really an action figure by any means. This is strictly just like an empty shell of plastic. You know, it's completely hollow. You know, the only action figure bits are just the arms. You know, the difference is this is a full action figure. And immediately when you handle it, it's a much weightier figure. This actually feels very heavy. This is very light. But I do miss the interactivity of the action figure. I would love it if this figure like opened up like this guy, and you got to place Iron Man inside. I would love it if you could do that here, but unfortunately you can't. You know, instead the trade-off is, you know, the play feature, which is the mechanized chest and then the eyelid right there, which is really, really creepy. So I kind of feel like, you know, I'm kind of torn because I love the fact that the last year's model gave us the opportunity to like interact, you know, the smaller figure with the bodysuit. But at the same time, I think this is an improvement over this in the fact that this is actually like an action figure. I feel like even though this costs a little bit more than this guy, I do feel like this is worth the value. For one, it's very weighty. He does have articulation like an action figure. His legs could kind of kick out. They could kick up. But I do dig this gimmick a lot. I like the gimmick where he could open up his chest and you get the crazy winking eye. So yeah, it's a very unique take on Iron Man. I love the look of this armor. It looks like the Hulkbuster. But I do miss this. I really wish he had the smaller figure and the ability to like plug them in, much like last year. And for me, this was such a cool idea. Because we got a couple of Hulkbusters in the Marvel Legends line, but we never got something like this, Alright, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would I rate this guy? For me, it's an easy 8. It's a solid 8. I love the fact that it's bulky. I dig this a lot. I especially love the winking eye. It's very creepy. The design of the body, it's really cool. The proportions is very Hulkbuster-like. So, you can easily just pretend this is a very unique version of the Hulkbuster. I love the chain sword. It's kind of a very morbid, wicked kind of weapon for Iron Man to wield. Yeah, overall great figure. I think it's fantastic. So yeah, I think it's worth the purchase, especially if you have young ones. Alright, so let's wrap this video up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your support. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.